Hello, Abigail here with a channeled message for you. This message is what you need to know now, a channeled message from the divine. We are going to be using the Lost Oracle here and the Way Home Tarot to bring in a message that the universe, the divine, wants you to know in this moment. I'm getting kind of the vibe that some of us are feeling a little kind of out of sorts, struggling, needing a little bit of hope. And so I wanted to channel a message to see what the universe and the divine has to say for us, the collective, and maybe some advice going forward, maybe some insights into what's coming up for us next. So, yeah, let's get into it. As I shuffle, take a moment to kind of breathe, center yourself, allow your anxiety to come up. I know a lot of times we're asked to really calm and still things. But I think sometimes, being honest with our feelings is the best place to start. So let's get into it. What does the Lost Oracle have for us? Okay, we have the papillon, which is the French word for butterfly. It says, your courage will be rewarded. It feels like in this moment you're being asked to be brave. I love how this card is. We have the poppies, which are about courage and bravery. We have a butterfly that has gotten out of its jar and its cocoon. I am getting the sense that this is a currently ongoing thing. Like, this is where you're going to end up eventually. But in this moment, you are kind of still in the jar. And this card is here to give you some hope, to give you some perspective, to encourage you to hang in there a little bit and to know that something is about to break when it comes to your dreams and your desires, whatever they might be. I'm getting, and these are like the pillars of divination, obviously very career and relationship heavy energy. Just feeling stuck overall. And it feels like for some of you, like relationship and career are tied. Not necessarily that you're going to meet someone at work or that your partner is involved in your work, but that having a partner or being in community and being loved, is a really big part about you, coming your best self and reaching your goals and attaining your dreams and your desires. Ooh, ancestral alchemy, conjure your legacy. So this is definitely the divine saying this is not just kind of amorphous energy. This divine energy that is coming through is from your ancestral lineage. It is from people who have gone before. This could be ancestors of blood, ancestors of place, also ancestors of desire and choice and practice. So if you are an artist, if you are a musician, if you are, I don't know, a banker, you have ancestors who have been in that field. And while they're not blood related, they are still a part of a lineage for you. And this is also a reminder because it says conjure your legacy, that you are also an ancestor, not just in the making, but you've already become one because we live in different timelines and past lives and like concurrent destinies and things like that. And so you are already an ancestor, and maybe this is a moment to take some perspective and to be like, what do I want my legacy to be? What am I currently building towards? And how that ties into you being brave and courageous in this moment, embracing your transformation process. And I don't feel like you're not embracing it. I do feel as though you are just very worn out and very tired. And you've been doing the work and you've been doing the transformation and you have been changing, and you're not really getting anything back, which is very much giving like the sticks in the the dry sticks in the jar. But I think your ancestors want to come in and kind of say, hey, I know it's hard, I know it's tough, but it is going to be okay. Now I think what we'll do is we will draw the tarot to kind of see like how and when it will be okay, how and when we're going to get through this. And then our last oracle, we have Celestial Queen. The stars will guide you. I'm also an astrologer, and this really reminds me that we are going through, this is a timeless reading. But as of like the energy that I'm reading under, we're going through some really tense astrology. And then, the times in which you record and do things bring a certain energy. And so, even if you see this reading 2 years from now, 6 months from now, the energy of courage and struggle and overcoming that is in the current astrology still applies to you, even though we're under a completely different sky, in a couple of years. So, you know, just know that you will overcome. Also, I think for some of you, this is a bit of guidance um, to maybe seek out an astrologer or to look at your chart, especially with like career. I find it's really helpful to get insight from our birth chart, insight from our transit. So for some of you, I do think, if you have an astrologer, hit them up for a reading. If you don't, consider getting one. There's something in the cosmos of the moment that you're hearing this, whether it is the day that I post it or 5 years from now, that you could really benefit from knowing and working with. Also, with like celestial queen, regardless of your gender or identity, it is this idea that while I'm getting the vibe that we're feeling pretty out of control and unable to get a grip on destiny and our future and what's happening to us, there is an element of rulership here. You still are the captain of your own ship, even if the ocean and the seas are absolutely pummeling you right now. And so tend to what you can tend to. And really, yeah, I'm just getting a channeled message that like you feel really weak right now, and not in the sense of like a loser or anything, but just like someone who hasn't eaten in days. And I'm not talking like literal food, although this might be a reminder to eat something, but you've been starved of touch, you've been starved of love, you've been starved of companionship, you've been starved of money and resources. It really feels like the people watching this are in survival mode very much. And in spite of being in survival mode, you have been putting in the work, you have been doing spiritual things, you have been doing your best. And in this moment, I think what Spirit wants to say is it's going to break soon. Now, we are going to look at the tarot to see what other messages we have. I do want to ask about maybe what specifically this is about. And also, timing, because I am an impatient person and I always appreciate a good timing. A good timing moment. Here, let's pull all of the tarot at once. I can read this as a spread. Cards being sticky, except for, there we go. Get these set up. Yeah, all the swords, guys. There's no such thing as like bad stuff, but this is definitely, I think, representing how we are feeling in the current moment. So these cards are more for like an explanation of what's going on. We have Ten of Swords, Mother of Wands, the Nine of Swords, and the Three of Wands. So very Swords, Wands energy. Whenever I see a spread that's very Swords, Wands, there's very little rest. There's very little comfort. There's a lot of passion, but very little care. Not like you don't care, but as in like you're not being tended to. There's not an element of being able to rest. With the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, you are absolutely overwhelmed, worn out, exhausted. It also feels like these are aligning. You have been through a transformation and old things are dying. Very much this split chrysalis here. And then we have the Nine of Swords, which is anxiety and fear. You are genuinely concerned at this point that this is going to go on forever, that you're not going to be getting out of this. We do, however, our nice little hopeful wands, we have the Mother of Wands. In spite of how you feel, and no matter how much, also that smacking of my lips was probably annoying. Sorry guys. How depleted you feel, you still have energy that you have untapped that you can keep going with. Now, should you have to? No. Is this fun? No. But you have more power than you think. You are manifesting more than you know. Things are moving quicker then is possible. I do also think with a Mother of Wands, this is a little warning not to like let people on about your plans because they absolutely are going to try to get in your way. That's just a little indication. We do have the Three of Wands though, so stuff is going to be shifting soon. Um, it feels with like the direction of these cards. With the Ten of Swords, we're already at the exhaustion point. With the Mother of Wands, you are still working. And now we're at the point where you're like, if all of my labor and my work doesn't pay off, I don't know what I will do. I don't know how I will proceed. But we have the Three of Wands here that is saying it is breaking. We are moving. The thing you've been desiring, the thing that you feel exhausted and worn out and completely kind of devastated over is about to happen. There is just one more door you have to walk through. Let's pull and see. I want to see topic. I want to know if we can get guidance on specifically what this is about for the collective, for the people in this reading. What are the topics? What theme is this in case we have multiple things going on? Whoop, dropped that. Yeah, the cards are either refusing to come out today or they're like hurling themselves. Okay, so this is about companionship and partnership. I do think there is an element, like I said, I think everything's kind of interconnected. I do think there is an element of like your work and your career being a part of this, but at this point you're like, if I could have like one or the other right now before everything blows up, before I collapse, would be nice and it would help me keep going towards the rest of my dreams. So with the Mother of Swords and Father of Swords, there's a really big desire here for connection. Also, when I said earlier about like being touch starved, we have the Devil here. We just need some more play. We just need something not so serious. This is also speaking about intimacy. Some of us need someone else to meet our needs. We have been meeting all of our needs, and with the Devil, it's like I just need something, and I need it now. Also, with the Mother and the Father of Swords, this is also about companionship of the mind, being with someone like-minded. I think a lot of this collective are, while physical needs are really important, that's not enough. We want intellectual connection, we want emotional connection, we want care, we want things beyond just a one night stand or a friends with benefits. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but the people listening to this are like, I don't have the energy and time to do short term stuff. I need this connection. I need this support. I need the ability to build something permanent and stable now. All right, we have Eight of Cups and the Chariot. So we are going to have to walk away from some expectations. I don't think, give me a second. Yeah, it's not you walking away from like your dream. It's not you walking away from your requirements for the future, but it is you allowing to let the past go in some way. Makes me wonder if it's not a specific person that you thought would be the person who would be in this union, or if it is like um, the way you thought you would meet, or the timeline that you thought you would connect on. Not because you can't have some of these things, although I do think the partnership thing is real. Like a specific person has not worked out. But you do have to kind of let those burdens go. Let anything you feel like is a failure and just take it as a lesson and move on. This isn't to like bypass your grief or to remove it, but you have been manifesting change. You have been manifesting transformation, and you have indeed gotten said transformation and change. But now we want to reap the rewards. And a part of that reaping process is to let go what is no longer aligned, to walk away from maybe a childhood ideal or expectation. And I'm not saying like your current list of things you require in a partner. That is something you really need to stick to, especially with the Mother and the Father of Swords. You're just going to get the things that you want in maybe a way you don't expect. Then we have the Chariot, and this very much lines up with our Three of Wands. Things are moving. It just is really obscure, and we're not really getting good visibility on it. It's also this celestial queen. We are kind of in the dark right now, and we are definitely leaning on spirit to guide us rather than our own vision, because things are not clear. So I do think a part of the things that haven't worked out, or the things that we are really hoping will work out, is to find companionship and care. I do think if you're with someone and you feel alone, this is probably a sign that you deserve to feel care and companionship in a relationship. If you are single and this is something you've really been craving, um, definitely feels as though it is coming, and it's coming in quicker than it feels, right? Because it feels like if you are single, you have no prospects right now. And then if you are in a relationship or a dynamic, it feels as though things have gotten stale and overwhelming, and this is an opportunity to reconnect, especially with shared dreams and goals. Like, what is no longer functioning with you as a couple, with you as a partnership? This is definitely a sign to have a check-in with your partner and see where things are. Because I would hazard you may not be the only person who's stressed and overwhelmed in your dynamic. But really big energy for people who are feeling really alone and isolated right now, that things are starting to move toward a direction of community and care, whatever version you want. But let's see if we can ask about timing. When will this happen? Oh, and the Daughter of Cups, which would be the Page of Cups in a traditional deck, has been coming up a lot in my personal readings and in my readings for other people. Yeah. The pages are messengers. Okay. So, yes. We have the Daughter of Cups. We have the Three of Cups. We have the Six of Wands. Okay. So, there is a message of hope here, a message that someone is going to be coming into our life, whether it be a friend, a future partner, a future collaborative relationship. But it does feel as though, while a lot of you feel really isolated and alone, you're either about to get new friends, or your current friend group is actually going to step up for you in a way you don't expect. And then with the Six of Wands, we have hope and success and things moving forward. And then we have death, which I do want to pull a clarification for this, because I want to know, like, where in the death process are we? Ooh, the Emperor and the Eight of Wands. Okay, so timing, folks. We have, interestingly enough, we have a 13, we have a 6, and we have a 3. So things breaking are going to happen in some set of 3. For some of you, it is genuinely going, especially with the Daughter of Cups right next to it, it is going to be 3 weeks. Things happening very quickly. 3 weeks to 6 weeks. There is another subset of you where, because you're on a slightly different trajectory, it is 3 months to 6 months. But it is coming. We are currently wrapping up, and I'll reveal this card. We are currently wrapping up the death process. We are wrapping up this final moment of transformation, this final moment of change, because while death can just be an ending sometimes, death also creates space and is often the precursor to transformation and obviously rebirth. So we still have to finalize the death process. However, we have the Emperor, which is a 4, and we have the Eight of Wands, which is about really fast, quick moving energy. So while I think overall for the next 3 to 6 weeks, we are going to continue in this energy of death, there is a moment on the other side where we're going to come through. And I always love doing a little bit of numerology in here. So we have 9, and then we have 14. That makes 13. So at the end of 13 weeks, we will have finished a death process. Now, if you have literally just started a journey, the only caveat is if you have literally just started a journey, you were at the beginning of a transformational journey, this is probably 13 months. But if you have been in it, which I think most of you will be, considering kind of the the angst of this energy, the weight and the heaviness, the Ten of Swords, which is tens are like the finality in the suits here. The Ten of Swords, we have the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Swords is buried in here, and this, the Chariot. We have been in it for a minute for most of us. There's a very small subset that's longer. So next 13 weeks, something is going to break. Something is going to change. You are going to be getting recognition for something that you've done, or you will be able to take power in some dynamic of your life that you haven't been able to. At this point, I get we've been in it for so long, 13 weeks seems like a long time, but it's not 13 weeks of waiting for a moment of impact. It is 13 weeks of getting to a point where we feel okay, where we feel Six of Wands victory, where we have Three of Cups. And that is an incredibly short timeline, pardon me, when we're talking about like coming from where we are now to the other side. And believe me, I absolutely hate waiting for anything. But to put it in perspective, this is, what is it now? For like, if you're, watching this in like the winter, it's literally just the next season over. And I'm talking to myself more than just as much as anyone, because like I said, I really hate waiting for anything. And so I get that this feels really hard. But 13 weeks is not long. Also, it doesn't mean that like you're experiencing this energy all of the 13 weeks. It just means that we are experiencing the change and the transformation. And by the end of this 13 weeks, you will be on top of this jar, ready to fly off with fellow butterflies. This also speaks to me of like finding alignment with a partner or a friendship that feels really at home. You are flying off to find your people in whatever form that means to you, whether it is romantic, whether it is companionship, whether it is career oriented. But I want to do two last tarot and then one last oracle to kind of see us out. Seven of Wands. Oh yes, my old friend. And the Hierophant. So the Seven of Wands is a little bit of praise from Spirit. You have kept going. You have kept pushing. If you look at this, we have this kind of rickety rope bridge, and at the end there is a wand. We are in the middle of the rope bridge right now. It is rickety, it is unstable, but we have a guiding light and a hope, and that's what we got to keep pushing towards, and we got to keep moving. And then we have the Hierophant. During this time, focus on education and connection and care beyond just kind of your specific dreams and desires. Don't just get so single focused that you're only going for the things that you have been desperately manifesting because you need them. Keep pursuing other things, other forms of enrichment, other forms of connection, other forms of care, because all of that energy builds up and gets fed back into the kind of like main hopes and dreams. I'm feeling called to pull one more just to kind of round it out. The Hierophant's also about, tradition and the way things have been done. And I think with this card, with the mushrooms, it's like you get to choose how things get to be done in your world. Very much also tied to the Emperor, and they also go in numerological order. 4 to 5. You get to choose how you live your life. You get to choose what is normal. Oh, I love it. Yes, yes, yes. 9 of Pentacles. We are so close, guys. You are almost there. The energy of when you're seeing this, the timeline, this is finding you at the moment where things possibly feel pretty bad, and we are finding a new sense of power as we get into this 9 of Pentacles of harvest and the fruits of our labor, and the beauty of all of the work that you have put in actually coming to something. I also think this is a much longer progression. Like, obviously there's been like a shorter period of time in which you've wanted certain specific things, but this is also, I really think that some of you have shifted the way your energy works. And in the past, you were dumping like vats of your energy into projects. And while you would learn stuff and you would discover new things, you wouldn't get a harvest. You would get one or two little fruits, and then the rest was like, well, and now start a new project. But it really feels like you have shifted your destiny in some way to where now your energy just doesn't get wasted. Well, you can't really waste energy, but it doesn't like get spread out to everyone else and then never come back to you. You are going to be seeing your energy back in the near future. Um, and speaking kind of like of that 13 weeks, um, I would say you're looking at things like really getting positive around 5 to 7 weeks. And then those final few weeks are kind of like a um, an unwinding, but an unfolding of whatever new and fresh thing is coming in to kind of stabilize you and give you support and a culmination of something you've really been hoping for. And then last but not least, we're going to pull one more oracle from the Lost Oracle. One last message. What does the divine want to leave us with? What do our ancestors want us to know, since they definitely made an appearance? Primordial passion, leave your mark. It is okay to be in the place that you're at right now, in the sense of like, you don't need to make this feel better. You don't need to soften. Why did I say soften? Soften. Soften your rage. You don't need to soften your pain and your frustration. The people who are meant for you are going to love your ability to be honest, your ability to express yourself freely. This is primordial passion, leave your mark. Um, you are here to do something great, and you are here to, well, going back to this, you are here to conjure your legacy. I really love how this kind of has tied back in. You're here to conjure your legacy, to leave an imprint on the world, to be more than this moment of survival. I also love this spiral, which actually, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a spiral here. I like how everything that goes around comes around, and energy is neither created or destroyed. You are here to do something great. This moment does feel like a moment of darkness and desperation, but on the other side, you are going to leave your mark. You are going to be well known. You are going to be honored within whatever sphere you have. I know a lot of this was about connection and relationship, but I do think that for a lot of you, in order for you to kind of progress when it comes to your career and your legacy, you do need love, and you do need connection, and you do need care, and you deserve those things. And so the final message is hang in there, be bold, be yourself authentically, because that is how you are going to leave your mark. I think in these last few months that there's been parts of us that have been, coming back to our little Eight of Cups, parts of ourselves that we've been hiding or we've been trying to soften to like appeal to others. Now is the time to let that go. You need to be who you are so that you can attract the exact right people, whether that is clients, colleagues, romantic partners, friendships. Um, it's also fine for you to fall apart in this moment and to need support. Um, but just know that we are definitely in a final stretch, and we just have to hang in there a smidge longer. Anyways, my loves, this is a reading from the divine. If you enjoyed this or this resonated, please comment below. I would love to hear about it. And also, please like and subscribe, because it really helps get my work out there and have this message connect to the people that need to hear it. Anyways, I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you later.